Hello, friends. Welcome to Nirmal. I'm Piyush Jain, and today we are bringing to you another conversation around the earnings review of a company. This company is a well-known brand in the sector, right from pipes to many sort of building material ancillary. Again, that you could be seeing their name across the market. Let me welcome the management, CEO of Finolex Industries Limited, Mr. Ajit Venkataraman. Ajit sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Piyush.
Now, the company name is actually synonymous. Like everybody sees Pan India, and when we talk about the recent results, it appears the momentum has been absolutely very strong. And I was looking at the PVC volumes. The growth was phenomenal, almost 49% up versus the last year, and 20% up quarter on quarter. And that's a very strong sort of segmental growth. Even if I take a look at the PNF volumes, those actually were very strong, almost 90% jump versus the last year. So before I go to any of the numbers, sir, let's try and understand how the business is shaping up and what has been the reason for such a strong growth.
So we had been, thank you, Piyush. We had been expecting to surpass the pre-COVID levels this financial year, and we seem to be in a fairly good track to do that. The Q3 results were quite good. We had the strongest quarter in terms of metric tons of pipe and fitting business that we have done ever in our history. And this, as a result of this, our revenue was up almost 12% compared to Q3 FY22. EBITDA was down 62%, but that was on the back of PVC prices being really high and historic highs last financial year. But compared to Q2 of this financial year, FY23, where we had reported a loss of 142 crores, this jump to 92 crores was quite good. The last quarter three, the volumes were up predominantly because of pent-up demand in the market. And that's the reason why we had those record volumes. But going forward, we do not expect Q4 to be as strong as Q3 because you're going to have a little bit muted response from the market based on the Q3 performance, and also people are weary about the PVC prices. But so far, it has been fairly stable since December, January, so we expect it to be a lot more predictable.
Right. I'm just digressing from volumes to the headline number, and then come back again on the volumes here.
Sure.
If I take a look at the sort of headline numbers on a consolidated basis, the revenue numbers actually were in the positive territory. But then very clearly we have seen sort of some cost effect. I'm just comparing it versus the last year. There was slightly higher other expenses. Help us understand the numbers here. Very strong volumes, revenue positive growth, but on the sort of profit and the cost, we need to sort of understand more here.
See, it is the profit and loss is mainly driven by the value of inventory we hold, and with the PVC has been a fairly stable pricing level over the last 10 years, but over the last 3 years, we have seen quite a lot of turbulence. In FY22, we saw the PVC prices go almost up to about $1,700 to $1,800 per metric ton. And this financial year, we have seen it drop all the way to almost about $900. So this is quite a huge fluctuation. And what also happens in this industry is that you have stocks of PVC pipe production and the fittings production. And when the prices are going down, you are left holding high-priced inventory. And that correction is something which happened in Q2. And till about middle of November, we had those corrections still taking place because of the inventory we had. And therefore, you see the profitability not as high as last year. Last year, it was completely on the back of very strong PVC prices. And to also let you know, we are vertically integrated. We produce PVC as well. and most of our PVC we consume, but we consume at the market rates.
Right, and for our viewers, help us understand that, sir. Also, like if you're producing PVC, like the raw material prices, they would have actually supported you. So, is there something where usually what happens in this sector on a year basis, the cyclicality offsets each other, but quarter on quarter, sometimes the sort of variation could be very difficult to understand. So, should we assume that perhaps next 1 or 2 quarters there could be some sort of raw material tailwinds for you?
No, we have already exhausted our high cost inventory by middle of Q3, and what we have observed is that since December the prices have been fairly stable. The PVC prices have reached a stable point similar to the pre-COVID levels. And if we don't see too much change or fluctuations in the PVC prices, we should not see too much of variability in the performance.
Okay, sir. And help us also understand how the momentum has been for PNF. Because if I look at this quarter, PNF was one segment which has supported very nicely.
That is right. We have had uh, phenomenal growth. We did almost 1,077 crores of business against 831 crores of business in FY22 Q3. And in terms of metric tons, we almost did 9,396 crores. I mean, metric tons of sales. Production. Whereas in Q3 of FY22, it was 46,944. So it is all over 90% growth. And this, as I mentioned before, was on the back of very strong pent-up demand which was there in the market. And when the PVC prices started stabilizing, the network started stocking up. And that's where you saw the demand go up significantly.
Right, sir. And now let's go to the sort of core market you're servicing. What's your view? How's the sort of sector demand looking to you as we move towards the end of the year?
See, typically Q4 and Q1 are our strongest quarters. And Q4 is going to be a bit muted based on the strong performance of Q3. I think all the industry has seen a significant growth in almost all sectors in Q3, and therefore we are seeing the Q4 being a little bit muted, but we expect that the demand will pick up in Q1.
Okay, sir. And now I'll ask you a very naive question, but that's for the benefit of our viewers. Usually, when you see the Finolex brand moving in front of your eyes, you actually start imagining the pipes going to agriculture, going to real
Building
estate. Like,
infrastructure.
help us understand where sort of all sort of a market you are servicing.
So we are very strong we have traditionally been very strong in the agri segment. And our pipes are known for its quality. And whenever a farmer has money and wants to buy a pipe for his own field, typically he or she asks for Finolex, and we are proud about that. We have been a little bit late in the plumbing and sanitation segment, and we are aggressively growing. We are seeing the strongest growth happening in that segment. Till about 4 to 5 years back, our split was 80% agri and 20% pipes and the sanitation and plumbing and sanitation. Today we are at approximately, if I take year to date, it is approximately a 65-35 split. And we are expecting strong growth to happen in the plumbing and sanitation segment. And agri segment, we expect a normal growth.
Right, sir. From that perspective, which geographies right now you're seeing incremental demand?
We are strongest in southwest, and in northern part we are getting good traction as well.
Okay, because we also heard from other building material companies where actually they were talking about recovery in the south. Is that something where you are spotting?
No, we have very strong presence in south. So south traditionally has been a strong market for Philippines.
Yes, and are you actually seeing a lot of volume demand? I would say over the last 3 months, what actually you started hearing from the market there in South, is that something sort of a sign that we are looking at a sort of strong revival in terms of volume there?
Typically, see, the south has monsoons a little bit later than rest of the country. So typical monsoon in south has been in the November December timeframe, where we see a little bit of a slowdown and the demand start picking up in the February March timeframe. So that we are seeing patterns in similar patterns emerging this year as well.
Right, sir. And are you also sort of actively participating in terms of supplying to Jal Shakti projects, which is like more Har Ghar Nal Har Ghar Pani?
Not Finolex directly, but our network channel partners are participating.
Okay. And apart from that, sir, one question I wanted to ask on the other expenses also. Uh, Other expenses has been higher this quarter. Any particular reason for that?
Not really. It is much more about inventory adjustments than anything else. It is normal. There is nothing unusual about it.
Okay. And marketing spends, is that something which is continuing as normal or
So we see as we are moving more towards the non-agri segment, the plumbing and sanitation segment. Our brand presence, brand visibility, if you have gone to the market, has significantly increased. We have also participated in many popular programs on TV, such as The Big Boss, in regional channels, and that has given us a good traction. Traditionally, agri is much more of a pull market, and plumbing and sanitation is much more of a push market, and therefore it is important for brand building, and that is what we will be focusing on in future as well.
okay? And any other new category, new products where actually you're looking to enter?
No, what we believe is that the plumbing and sanitation and the piping segment, pipes and fitting segment itself has got enough room to grow, and as an organization, we are very focused on that.
Okay, sir. Now let's talk about this pricing, sir. Volumes we talked about, and there has been strong growth. We just talked about it. On the pricing, how's the trend and how's the sort of competitive scenario looking like right now?
See, pricing. One thing which you need to understand about the pipes and fitting segment is that any changes in the raw material prices is almost immediately passed on to the customers. And in terms of pricing, Finolex brand has traditionally had a premium, and that
Yes.
will continue.
So does that imply that basically that right now, with respect to competitive intensity, we are not seeing sort of any sort of pricing pressure broadly for the industry?
Uh, I would say that it is the normal. There is nothing new in the currently which has changed in the market.
Okay. And apart from pricing, sir, and between the volumes, now from the COVID to now, and as we move ahead with respect to the government spending, what sort of impact do you see for you, for your sector, from all the sort of announcements which have been made in the budget, like largely focused on creating infrastructure and also a couple of projects which are actually going to sort of take more sort of speed in the villages in the rural India. How actually that had created demand last year, and how do you see the trend next year?
See, if you look at the CAGR for the last 5 years, the industry has grown anywhere between 13 and 15%. And based on our estimates, we expect the industry to continue growing for the next 5 years at the minimum. And the growth is likely to take a little more aggressive growth we are expecting in the plumbing and sanitation segment compared to the agri segment.
Right, sir. And one question I'm tempted to ask. Uh, Usually what happens when you have good amount of cash on the balance sheet
Uh-huh.
and when everything is going right for you, and like which is strong volume growth, 20, 30, 50, 60% volume growth. Now, and even if we take the 15 to 20% sector number which you just talked about, usually companies they use the cash to really either enter into a new sector or to acquire something. Any sort of
Mhm.
plan which the company has thought about to use the cash?
See, you also need to understand that we are coming out of fairly turbulent 2 or 3 years, where we need to have cash reserves, and now that we are almost out of it, if the cash reserves is not going to be used for expansion, it will be given back to the shareholders.
Okay, so are you saying basically that maybe next year, like almost a sort of dividend payout is that's the sort of
So
plan?
we are looking at expansion as well, and we are evaluating various options, and anything in excess of that, we are going to be giving it back to the shareholders.
Right. And from that perspective, I wanted to sort of borrow your thinking. At present, both in PNF and the sort of PVC segment, or in particular, if I go down into the pipe segment, where sir we would be right now in terms of capacity utilization?
See, we have an installed capacity for pipes of 370,000 metric tons. And if I add almost about 40 metric tons of fittings, we are close to about 410,000 at the moment. And at this current period, we are running around 60 to 70% capacity utilization.
Okay. So that
We have
implies you know,
we have sufficient capacity for the next 2 to 3 years.
absolutely. So no major requirement of capex right now. It's more
Absolutely
about increasing the sort of turnover on the assets.
correct.
Right, sir. And one question I wanted to ask you: we have seen the reopening of China. We have sort of started seeing some movement in terms of imports within your sector. Uh, how the sort of situation around the Chinese import, whether it's into PVC or pipes, any sort of major threat, or how's the domestic players positioned there?
So, see, we as a country, we import close to 40 to 50% of our PVC requirements. There is new capacity which is coming up in India itself, but it is going to take at least a couple of years for the capacity to come in. We are seeing imports from US and China. But in last year, we did see a lot of imports dumping happening from the Chinese market. Um, and there has been a slowdown in China as well. And we expect that after the Chinese New Year, the demand is likely to pick up there. But till that picks up, there is always a threat of dumping in India.
Right, and then which implies that on from that aspect, I wanted to ask you between the organized and non-organized,
Uh-huh.
what's your view right now? How's the sort of market share accretion is happening for you?
So it's about we have moved from to almost a 35-45 split in terms of organized versus unorganized, and we expect that the unorganized segments will continue to be there. But I would expect that the organized segment, given the variability in prices of the raw material, the turbulence, in fact, and the capacity to withstand shocks, I think the organized sector will continue to grow. But I'm not saying that it will be wiping out the unorganized. Unorganized sector has its place and has its market.
Right. So my last two questions, I think. One question would be from the perspective of geographies. We already know your strength. From the perspective of geographies, any particular geography where you see sort of price sort of differential working advantage to the imported sort of items? Is any
No,
particular
not at
geography where
all.
actually you face more threat?
No, not at all. The thing is that even the locally produced PVC, for example, is priced at par with the landed import price. So there is not too much of a threat from that angle.
Okay, and my last closing question to you will be that 9 months have gone from the perspective of the fourth quarter. In fact, I would say we have already passed almost half of the fourth quarter. How has been the sort of exit, the fourth quarter for you so far?
So far, as I mentioned, is normal. but it is not going to be as good as the boost which we got in quarter three. So it is. We got 1.5 months left exactly. So we are hoping for the best. Uh, let's wait and see. Hopefully, the demands will pick up.
And we definitely would like to wish you to sort of see again such robust volume growth numbers in the fourth quarter also. Till the next time we connect to you again, sir. Thanks a lot for all the patience in answering all our questions for our viewers.
Thank you, Piyush. Pleasure meeting with you.
Thank you, sir. And dear viewers, with that, it's a wrap on the show.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel for in-depth interviews of India Inc. and press the bell icon so that you do not miss our updates.